You can tell by and large which companies are owned by the Masonic community or the Satanists. And by Satanists, I mean those who have prayer meetings inside of buildings where they take a baby and cut the baby in half, pour out a human baby's blood on an altar, and sacrifice them. Those are the Satanists. They're the ones that own the big corporations and the major banks. Here's how you could tell which companies they own. It's the ones where there's cars in the parking lot for. Because after all, they require churches to be closed, but some grocery stores can be open. So what does that tell you? It says that you can feed yourself, prolong your mortal existence, but be careless about your soul. That's what they're trying to say. And that's, of course, a Satanist agenda. Now, Target would be owned by the Satanists. Again, Satanists are those who have secret meetings, seances, and they dressed up in garb at an altar, and they will take a knife and cut a baby in half and pour out its blood for sacrifices. That's the ultimate owners of, for instance, Target, but not only Target. Any company that is open for business in this parking lot, except for possibly restaurants, are directly owned or strongly owned by Satanists. If it's restaurants, it's possible that they're owned by Satanists if they're open, because if you see, there's cars over here, and then going around here, it's a Kobe buffet. It's hardly likely that Kobe buffet is open. I mean, they'll take orders. Don't get me wrong, they'll take orders. But look how long the cars are for Chick-fil-A. Now, we've noticed that Chick-fil-A has been known for a Christian stand against homosexuality. But recently, probably within the last 3 years, or about 3 years ago, Chick-fil-A sold out or balked to the New World Order because of financial pressure or probably a lawsuit against them or huge fines against them for their stand against homosexuality, which is a tenet of Satanism. I mean, of course, it's a tenet for anyone that's homosexual, obviously, but also Satanists, as Satanists are trying to dominate the world scene. But let's take a look. Again, what we can say about Chick-fil-A, their food quality is bad. In fact, the badness of the food quality made me suspect that Chick-fil-A may have balked to its enemies, because if you keep having food quality that's bad after you've made a strong Christian stand, it keeps being bad, maybe you're not really walking with God either. And it doesn't mean you necessarily are or not, because the Satanists would try to make sure Christians are the last ones to have healthy food. So it could be that they're not having healthy food because they're resisting the Satanists. But look, Joanne, Heart Made Happiness, Joanne Factory, that's not owned by Satanists. As you can see, there are no cars in the parking lot. That's how you know Satanists do not own Joanne Handmade Happiness. Now, we just passed by Michael's. So let's double check about Michael's. Is Michael's owned by Satanists? Michael's is the name of an archangel, right? Archangel Michael. But that doesn't mean, of course, that Michael, the store, is or is not owned by Satanists. Again, what are Satanists? Those are the people who try to violate all of the 10 Commandments. They try to do the opposite of the 10 Commandments. They'll have like a witch's coven where there'd be a man that leads 13 women who are witches, and there'd be leads 12 of them that are witches. It would be like each coven consists of 13 people, and they would also do human sacrifices. Some won't do human sacrifices as of yet, but here, this parking lot does have some cars, and there's Michael's. So Michael's, you could say, is suspect a little bit, but there's not a whole lot of cars here for Michael's. But we could say Michael's is influenced by them, definitely. So let's take a look, because after all, if the churches are required to be closed, but abortion clinics are open, which they are, it would follow that probably just as if on the spiritual realm or the spiritual have to be closed, then they're also doing it to businesses. So how about Hobby Lobby? Hobby Lobby is exactly like Michael's. It's a real competitor to Michael's. So let's see if Hobby Lobby has business. Because Hobby Lobby is ready to do business. It's totally ready. So what's wrong? Now I do know that the economy is crashing. It would crash even if COVID-19 didn't break out. And one of the purposes of breaking out COVID-19 deliberately is to allow businesses to crash without anybody knowing that it's really because the economy is being ruined and dying. Now, Mark Zuckerberg intends to bring you the Libra currency, which is a electronic currency. I'd say you get gold and silver, food, water, some land, but you might not get land now. It might be too late. So we're mortal, right? We're going to die. Even if you have land, you're going to still die. I'm not saying die as soon as you can or despairingly die or just have a sarcastic attitude about life, but I'm just saying that regardless of how well prepared you are and you got everything together and you got land for everybody, you still are mortal, and eventually one does die. And so why not turn death into something heroic, or rather sanctifying for a vast multitude of people? Now here's Hobby Lobby. Now how about Hobby Lobby? Is it owned by Satanists? The parking lot suggests that it's not owned by Satanists. See? No cars in the parking lot. So you could say that Satanists, bankers are not running Hobby Lobby. How about CVS Pharmacy? CVS Pharmacy being run by Satanist bankers? Let's take a look. How about Walmart? I can bet you there's cars in the parking lot at Walmart. Okay. I mean, why not let Hobby Lobby have people come? Because after all, Target lets people come. What's the difference? What's the difference between Target? What's the difference between Michael's and Hobby Lobby? Let's take a look. See CVS Pharmacy? Got some cars. That's CVS Pharmacy. See, quite a few cars. So maybe CVS Pharmacy, you'd say CVS Pharmacy is owned by the Satanist bankers to some extent. There's Planet Fitness. Well, we don't really know if Planet Fitness is owned by the Satanist bankers or not. It's a different type of industry. I think that they would try to limit things based on industry as well. I mean, they can't make themselves too obvious. You know, they have to kind of hide what they're doing to some extent. But here's Planet Fitness, and if you base on the number of cars in the parking lot, they're probably not owned by the Satanist bankers. But then again, you know, we can't know absolutely for sure, but this would be a likely scenario. All right, so here we are. CVS Pharmacy, pretty much. You could say that a bank would be owned by Satanist bankers. Again, what are Satanists? Those are the people who would go up to an altar with a knife and cut a baby in half and pour out its blood for Satan. Well, actually, if they just simply do that, that's already done for Satan. I mean, it's murder. One of the 10 Commandments to violate. You shall not kill. They say you shall kill. Human sacrifice. It's definitely a part of the tenet of Satanism. And again, also, if they don't do killings, they might go as far as just being vampires. For instance, Mr. Schönbellen used to be a vampire for Satan, and he would have a thirst for blood, literally. He had a witch's coven, 12 women, and himself, a man. Maybe there were some other men in there, and he would ask permission of each woman if he could draw blood out of their necks. And I mean, so in spite of his being a vampire, there was some gentlemanliness in him, somewhat. But somebody was praying for his conversion and succeeded. God intervened. He got out of Satanism and went into the Mormon church initially, and then after that got into a more reasonable church. Mormonism, of course, has serious heretical beliefs, and the church is divided. Christianity is divided. We did not even unite the dates of Easter, which is really pathetic. And even now, churches are closed, not uniting the dates of Easter. Kind of like, now Target, you could say, Target definitely owned by the Satanists. Look at how many cars in the parking lot. And there you are. Prove me wrong by opening up the churches and letting the priests say the divine liturgy and give out Holy Communion to people.